Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Johnny and Chanel consider their options. At the Brady pub, Stephanie approached Everett and asked to join him. Everett eagerly accepted, and Stephanie inquired if he was working on a story. He turned his laptop around and showed her the headline of his story, Rogue Radioactive Mayor. Stephanie was surprised and didn't believe Everett should run the story without getting a response from Paulina first. Everett insisted Paulina had had plenty of opportunity to respond but had refused comment. Stephanie asked Everett to give Paulina more time, but Everett didn't want to lose a significant scoop. He published the article, to Stephanie's distress. After Stephanie ended a call with Abe, Everett asked her if working with both Paulina and the paper would constitute a conflict of interest. An offended Stephanie affirmed it wouldn't be, so Everett backed off and propositioned her about doing something fun-related rather than work-related. Everett didn't want to pressure Stephanie and said they could move at her tempo. She warmed to the idea of spending time with him, particularly after Everett suggested one of the couple's favorite pastimes, pickleball. Everett got back on his laptop to check his itinerary. When he saw the divorce papers and Bobby Stein's signature, his expression darkened. Stephanie wanted to establish a date for the pickleball outing, but Everett blew her off and claimed he needed to work on another story. Stephanie was mildly taken aback and asked Everett if he was all right. He insisted he just needed to work, so Stephanie left. A moment after Stephanie was gone, Everett approached a woman at the bar and began pressing on her. He introduced himself as Bobby. Outside the pub, Jada and Rafe talked French fries and who would get decorative Dominion when they went home. The couple cordially greeted Eric as he arrived. They updated him on their moving plans, and he updated them on Jude. When Rafe and Jada brought up Sloan, though, Eric was less committal and swiftly departed. Back at Rafe's house, Jada happily assessed the location. Rafe reminded her that his home was formerly her home. Jada felt grateful and lucky that Rafe and she had each other, but expressed concern about Eric. She thought Eric had seemed disturbed and unhappy earlier. Rafe attributed Eric's demeanor to Sloan being a difficult woman, and he hoped Eric could work through his marital issues. After replacing a piece of art from Jordan on Rafe's wall, Jada asked Rafe about his relationship with Jordan. He implied that all Jada needed to know was that Jordan had been certifiably insane and that their relationship had not ended well. Jada could relate, and both concurred they had finally gotten it right with each other. Jada was occupied redecorating the room when she received a phone alert. She squealed with glee upon viewing the message, because the divorce papers had gone through. Rafe brought out champagne, and they toasted to their future. Jada reflected on how joyful she was compared to how her marriage to Bobby had been when Bobby became cold and distant, like someone had flipped a switch. She was thankful to be rid of him. She called Rafe her one and only, and the couple began kissing ardently while moving to the bed. At Eric and Sloane's apartment, EJ angrily asked Sloane what she meant by stating he was only half right about Jude. Sloane drew a breath and told him the baby was Nicole and Eric's child. A stunned EJ pondered why he should believe a lying kidnapper, but Sloane reminded him she had nothing to gain from lying to him about Jude's parentage. She hated the reality as much as EJ did, but she insinuated that if they both wanted to save their marriages, then EJ would remain quiet. EJ was still in denial and reminded Sloane he had paternity test results in his safe. Sloane informed him that she had altered the results. EJ scoffed at the notion and dubbed Sloane scum. He insisted he would get another test, and Sloane told him to go for it and offered up Eric's toothbrush. She said to EJ, "We're on the same team now," and that they needed to work together. "Got it?" she demanded, then struck a growling EJ on the forehead. After EJ departed, Eric returned home. Sloane asked Eric about his meeting with Leo. Eric affirmed he'd seen Leo. Since Leo had been drunk and distraught, though, Eric had felt sorry for him. Eric wanted Sloane to know that while he detested how Leo had blackmailed Sloane, he was most upset that Sloane felt she couldn't confide in him. Eric and Sloane vowed each other no more secrets and hugged as Sloane sighed. After pledging openness and honesty to Eric, Sloane kissed him, and the couple headed for bed. Nicole was ruminating about Eric when Johnny and Chanel walked into the DiMera mansion. Nicole greeted them, but they excused themselves and went upstairs, alleging it had been a long night. A shaken EJ made a beeline for a drink when he returned to the residence. He gazed at his wedding ring as Nicole approached him from behind. EJ took a mouthful of the drink before noticing Nicole. She asked him if he was all right. EJ attributed his mood to a long day at work, and he said he wished to go to bed. Nicole stopped him and said she needed to tell him something first. She disclosed that she would be working with Eric at the paper. Nicole insisted she would cease working at the paper if EJ had a problem with the Eric aspect. After a beat, EJ assured Nicole he would be all right with it. She reasoned she would likely be working with a different photographer on future articles. Besides, she observed to EJ, "You are my present and my future." They embraced, but both wore conflicted looks. EJ asked Nicole about Holly, and Nicole verified that Holly had settled in early because she'd had a difficult night. EJ thought Nicole might be overdoing it as well, and suggested a vacation. Nicole was excited by the concept. When she and EJ kissed, EJ's watch got entangled in Nicole's hair. Nicole reflected that EJ and she had been taking each other for granted. He contested the notion, but she clarified that they had not spent enough quality intimate time together. They smiled suggestively at each other and made a fast track for the bedroom. At their penthouse, an upset Paulina updated Abe on the situation with Chanel, Johnny, and the infant. Paulina swore she would never forgive herself if something went wrong with the pregnancy. Abe attempted to console her, but Paulina sobbed into his arms about her stupid, impulsive decision that could have tragic consequences. Abe believed Paulina had only done what she had felt was necessary. Paulina countered that she had wanted to prove to her daughter and to the rest of Salem that Paulina Price is fearless and indomitable. Paulina asserted that her ego and need to be a hero had overtaken her, leaving her with remorse and regret. She demanded Abe condemn her, but he believed they should go to bed since nothing could be done. Paulina instead picked up the phone to contact Chanel so she could check on her daughter and apologize again. When Chanel didn't answer, Paulina was certain Chanel was angry as hell and didn't want to speak with her mother. Abe believed Chanel and Johnny were simply trying to process things. As Paulina began to go on a guilt trip again, Abe reminded her that the best they could do for Chanel and Johnny was to be there for the couple and pray. He believed rest would do them all good, but Paulina wanted to take a hot bath to decompress. After Abe said he loved her, Paulina lamented that she wasn't feeling lovable. While Paulina was in the bathroom, Abe was shocked to see her photo, along with the story about her, on the front page of the paper's website. He called Stephanie and inquired about damage control. Stephanie said the only thing Paulina could do was release a statement explaining her side of the story. Abe worried that the story could harm Paulina's political career, and Stephanie could not assuage his concern. Paulina returned from her bath, rejuvenated and with a more positive outlook. She rambled to a distracted Abe who was still looking at his tablet about how they would all get through the difficulty together because they were tough and resilient. When she finished, Abe handed her the tablet and said he was apologetic. Paulina stared in wide-eyed horror at the headline. As Paulina perused the article, Abe assured her Stephanie had agreed to assist them with PR. Paulina believed the article was only stating the truth. She believed it was time she faced the music. In their bedroom, Johnny and Chanel took a moment to recollect. Paulina phoned. Chanel didn't want to answer because she was tired and confused. Johnny assured her Paulina would understand. Chanel was still processing how to feel about the pregnancy, as she hadn't been positive she was ready to be a mother. Johnny expressed enthusiasm at the news, calling the pregnancy awesome and amazing and affirming to Chanel that the baby made him feel closer to her.